saying that it feels right.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Blender Gaming. My name's the Blender, and today I'm going to be sending you my fastest record, which I believe is the fastest in the world. I have not seen anybody come close to this. I haven't seen anybody post anything faster than my previous video. I'm going over some of the skills and the gear right now. Feel free to pause it and take a look at anything. If you want any of this gear, you want to try this build out, or you just want to talk about how the build functions or anything like that, I have a Discord. You can hit me up on Epic. My name's the Blender, and you can just ask away, and we can get you some gear, some save files, anything like that. It's a modification of the build I posted. Well, I didn't actually post a build, but of the run I had with the build in there. That one had Samsara. This one I tried to go a little more aggressive, remove the Samsara, and I'm not sure if it gave me any like specific extras. I think the Samsara can actually do this just as fast. It's just a trick of not using the Samsara. So since you're not going to use it, you wouldn't put the points in there. You could probably even make it even more tankier to make yourself even more difficult to kill. That might be a possibility. However, it's not what I did. I basically took and went full, more Chad, more damage, stuff like that. Took the basically went into the blue tree, and then I found out that Moxsy had just posted his Ricochet Witch Build, which is almost identical. I think his blue tree's a little bit differently, but that's okay. Virtually the same, so I picked up the Recursion that he was, just absolutely enthralled with, and turns out he's absolutely right. This thing's amazing. Now, it does have some small downfalls, some very specific downfalls, such as when there aren't more than about 4 mobs, it really doesn't do well. If there's 2, it can ping back and forth really good. But that's really proc dependent on being able to get the ricochet to go off. Now, when there's 4 or more mobs, it absolutely wrecks, no doubt about it. Additionally, it is not as fast, right? So the projectile's not as fast, and it's not a shotgun. It's a little disc, if you will, and so you have to be significantly more precise than you do with the brainstormer, because it puts out an AoE, and if you hit any one of those bullets, could do the proc the chain. So when I need healing, I switch over to the brainstormer, but when I don't need healing, I use this recursion. Now, with that being said, there are a few things that I really wish for, like speedrun stuff like that Gearbox would fix. For example, if you notice, at some point I get to, I'm rush up to the Kraken here and where he's at, and I'm trying to get all the enemies. Now, if they're not gonna come around the corner, that's fine because they're hiding around. But essentially, I get these cleared out, and I don't have essentially enough. Like they haven't procced all of the guys necessary, right? And so I had to run all the way back to the front of this area and then come back to it to get them to spawn. I wish that wasn't. I hope that's not intended. I hope they potentially fix it, something like that. Now I have a recursion. My recursion is cryo and radiation. If you have a radiation cryo, switch it off of radiation whenever you fight the Kraken, because if you have it on radiation, it will kill all of the ads before enough bounces hit him, and you'll leave him with like half health. And that's just no fun for anybody. Now there, I ended up leaving him. I probably should have just kept recursioning him. I didn't see the guy to his left. And that really broke that for me. But we got him down. I almost screw up here, but we did get the Valkyrie shields down pretty well. Only took 2 shots. Here I just run around and keep my speed up, try to stay alive. But I try to keep all the mobs to close to where she's going to spawn. So the first mob, or the first Valkyrie, is going to spawn up on this top platform, and so we're just keeping him kited up around there. And this is essentially, it's not necessarily perfect, but she does get that big hit at the end, which makes it virtually perfect. That's how you want that to go. Cleared out the whole platform, you never died, and you popped all the way to her immunity phase, and before you had to go chase her down, or she jumps up in the air and does that. So the second boss also spawns, jumps on the top platform. Sometimes he'll run to the right, but he's more melee, so he's easier to kite. He spawns here, same thing. All right, we got all the dogs up here. We just pump shots into him, and as long as we don't miss and we can strafe with our movement speed, gets him into his immunity phase almost instantly. It's nuts. This class mod is crazy, and I am absolutely loving this run and gun style. Now the third Valkyrie, she actually spawns down in this little pit area here. So I'm trying to kite them down in here, but if you've ever played or you've ever tried to kite one of these big guys, you'll know that can be a little difficult. Now she does fairly well, get enough bounces off the top guys that came to the edge. And that worked out really well. She still ran over here and like did her slide across, and like, I procced your phase. Please go up. I'm trying to do this fast, not wait for you to do your shenanigans. Right? She's just sitting here doing nothing, immune to everything. But she finally goes back. Now it's my turn to kite and try to stay alive here in the middle. Right? Again, we're kiting these things. All of these guys we are kiting into the middle for these three bosses because they will all plop right here in the middle. We'll give them the old recursion 1-2, 1-2, and it's over. Now, we kind of wish that would have procced there and finished her off, but I'm not going to complain about 2 shots. We split. That was super fast. I was super excited. The modifier on it is Mayhem 4, and the modifier is 30% shotgun damage, which, the recursion does count, I believe, as a shotgun, so does the Brainstormer. So that super helps. I believe on my first one, I either had 20% shock for the Brainstormer or I had 30% shotgun. So pretty close. But with the new M4 modifiers, they're not too drastic. You can't super stack them, and so it's really gotten to where it's a little more consistent. Personally, I wish they'd get rid of them and just make certain things a part of the game. Make the health jump was fine, right? That super high health jump, I'm okay with. What I despise is the RNG, like especially if you're gonna do speed runs or time trials or anything like that. You want it to be stable, consistent, and predictable. And if somebody can take and go through and change up how they do it, so they find that one build that does crazy good, right? And they get you've got a new meta, or you've got a new build or something like that. But they know that mob's going to spawn here. They know that the enemies are going to have this X amount of health. They know that those things are going to be consistent. Unlike right now, where if you it's a lot better in M4, right? But in M3, you could have 4 modifiers that technically nerfed you, and you were just going to re-roll it and you were fishing, and it felt too much to me like the worst era portion, or the worst thing about Diablo 3, which is what I used to call rift fishing, where you would run, you would save and reload until you got the rift just right, and then you'd run that one hoping that it had the right density so that you could get on the leaderboard. And that's the most infuriating thing about competitive play. If you're going to make it competitive, something like that, it's got to be consistent. So, rant over. Here's the bridge. I go back and forth. I go from end to end of the bridge to get these mobs to spawn. It's the most consistent way that I have found to get these dogs to spawn. Now, I'm pretty sure the dogs are actually what causes the dogs in the eyes up top, right? If you kill all the dogs in the eyes up top, then you'll get this to spawn. But if you don't kill, or if you don't go to the end of the bridge like this, when you get back over here, you'll have no enemies, right? And so then you'll have these, jetpack troopers and stormtroopers and stuff like that, all jumping out in onesie twosies. And our build does not excel at killing single target mobs. If there's a better gun, I'm looking for a better gun, trying to find a better gun for single target, just so that when we get into those situations, we don't have that problem. But for now, this is what we've got. Now, we're real close here. We go back and forth on the bridge, pump a few shots in here, get these things taken care of, and we just keep going back and forth until we finally get this door. You can see the force field a little bit to the left there. It has, we've got to drop it. In order to do that, we have to kill these mobs. We've got that trooper. We've got this jetpack guy. Normally, like, if you come over here and you just sit next to the force field, which, would be ideal if you could, because you could sit next to the force field, and then as soon as it opened up, you'd be able to, to go in and start working on the next set of mobs. That would be the best, right? Unfortunately, that's not possible. But we got all the dogs, we got all the eyes, and I believe I attribute it to going back and forth across the bridge. Now here, unlike my recent video, I wait for all 4 of these. Now I had just gotten a 15-minute run, and I had just finished editing and putting that up. Well, not even putting it up, like editing it and getting it ready to upload while it was doing its export and it was creating the video file, I fired this up. I fired up this run, and of course, naturally, that means that I now have to make a new video. So here we are. We get the 4th guy down with our Linoge, old trusty. You probably don't need to reload there or get the ammo back. We don't use a whole lot of ammo in this fight anyway, but old habits die hard. Now here, we have the Wotan fight. It is not as fast. Now, I will put in a clip at the end, all right, after this, right, of the Wotan fight that I had, where I think it's like 1 minute and 20 seconds. It's barely over a minute, if at all, and it is super fast. And I'll kind of explain what's going on. It's also I thought it glitched out at the end, but it didn't, so I lucked out, and that was gonna be in the video that has now been replaced by this one. So here we're just stacking movement speed and using those ricochets. They popped his shield entirely. Here we use the Cutsman and movement speed to take out some of his shields and his health bars. We're going to do this again. We basically just run circles around the guy and let his friends kill him, essentially. He's going to hop. We chase him with the Cutsman. Now, I swap weapons and then instantly use the what do you call it? The action skill. Now, I'm not sure why those didn't hit him. Either they went over him or from the Cutsman. I don't know why. They didn't seem like they did a whole lot of damage. They should have done a lot more. I don't think they really hit him that much. That's okay. So like I said, this isn't my best boss kill. So or of this particular boss. It's unfortunate. Because if I had the like minute long boss kill that I had before, right? I think you have this at a almost exactly at that 12-minute run, or maybe a little less. But I've been saying in my first video, I said I think you could get this down to a 12-minute run, and from what I'm seeing, that looks like it's about right. Now here I get some good ricochets back and forth off there, but not enough to actually kill them. And we just finish out this boss fight. Like I said, he's a pain. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten to this point. Been pretty decent, and then I do too much damage on like the head or something like that, and he decides that he's going to jump twice, and he'll jump twice, and I'll get gibbed by one of the balls or something like that. The recursion is great. It does a lot of good things, but one of the things it does not do is single target damage. That is its bane, if you will. Now here we've got him sitting up there, just kind of parading down shots. It's kind of annoying, but it's gonna be okay. What we're really hoping for is when he goes green like that and he spawns those things, we're really hoping it procs some recursions and have them go back and forth just like that. So that concludes our 13-minute and 3-second run. It's my fastest. I believe it's the world record fastest at the current. You could still glitch your way through if you wanted to with like a terrified projectiles. I think you could beat that fairly easily. Maybe be held back by spawns, but hopefully that ever gets fixed or something like that. Hope you like the content. Here is my boss fight from my previous run. It just over a minute, I believe, and hope you enjoy it. Just kind of showing that it is possible and it should be possible to get down to that 12-minute mark without glitches. So if you enjoy it, give me a like, give me a subscribe, whatever you want to do. And if you just want to play some Borderlands, you can also hit me up on Discord or anything else that we got here. Have a good one. Whole world getting blurry to me, answers getting lost.
watch my back and keep it moving to the front. And remember that the world's yours, do it how you want. You've been waiting here for too long.